Celtics fans, I want to hear from y'all down in the comments section. What's your favorite Celtics memory of all time? Go down in the comments section and let me know. I am Will Scott. Welcome into Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. And on today's show, we're going to be breaking down some buyout candidates for the Celtics. The C's have yet to sign anybody after the trade deadline. They went after Danny Green. They didn't get him. They were linked to Kevin Love, but Green signed with the Cavs. Love signed with the Miami Heat. So the Celtics' last roster spot here is still open. It's going to be really interesting to see if Brad Stevens looks to fill it. Here are some options right now, and we begin with Will Barton, who is probably the most realistic name on our list here, the Washington Wizards forward, who was released last week. Taking a look at what he's done this season: 8 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, shot 38% from the floor. I like him. I think it might make some sense to bring him in. And when you're looking at the Celtics kind of roster right now, I do think he needs some more depth, maybe at the 3, and kind of behind Jason Tatum. And Will Barton is a guy that maybe might not be a rotation guy, but might get decent minutes on the Celtics team. Here is what Brian Robb, though, of MassLive, who's very much plugged in with the C's, said about Will Barton to Boston. He's the only notable name left out there on the wing, but he's likely to pursue more playing time with a different playoff team. That makes a veteran wing or perhaps a younger one in the G League, who the team could sign to a non-guaranteed longer deal of potential options for the 15th spot. So Brian Robb saying that he believes that Will Barton is not going to Boston and that maybe Boston will look to a free agent, perhaps Carmelo Anthony. I would love that. Or maybe a G League guy for that last spot, that last 15th spot. Now, do you want to sign Will Barton? S for sign, P for pass, down in the comments section. It is the pinned comment, so go and reply to it when you get a second. S for sign, P for pass. I'm going to disagree with Brian Robb. And I really like Brian Robb. He does good work, and he has good sources. But my prediction is that Will Barton is going to sign with the Boston Celtics because I understand the fact that if he comes to Boston, he's not going to get as much playing time as he would elsewhere. Maybe even he can get more playing time with another playoff team. But he wants a ring. And the Celtics are the best team in the league right now. They've been the best team in the league all year. He'd come to Boston, rack up 10 to 12 minutes per game, and get a ring on his finger. And I think that's the best bet for Will Barton. I think he's holding out. I think he could have signed by now if he wanted to. I think he's holding out for the right situation. And I think he wants to win, like a lot of these buyout guys do. That's why they get bought out. He left Washington where he was not winning. I think he should go to Boston and win a championship. Serge Ibaka is another interesting name here. So he was traded from Milwaukee to Indiana, right, Producer Coop, and then bought out by Indiana, or at least that's being processed. Taking a look at what Ibaka has done this season, all of these stats were with Milwaukee. So he has not played with Indiana. He's expected to get bought out there. 4.1 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, 48.1% from the floor, nearly 12 minutes per game. He might have made more sense before you traded for Mike Muscala. But you have some depth down there at the 4 and the 5 now. I'm feeling pretty good about the Celtics situation there. But at the same time, though, Robert Williams has missed some time. Al Horford has missed some time. It would not be the worst thing in the world to go out and sign a guy like Serge Ibaka. And Ibaka, much like Barton, probably wants to go to a winning team. You got to think if the Celtics reached out, he would be interested. Want to tell you about this great deal we have on this Celtics shirt. Chatsports.com/Celtics shirt. Producer Coop likes the shirt. I like the shirt. You can go and get it right now on sale for a limited time at Chatsports.com/Celtics shirt. In fact, I'm hearing from my bosses that it might not be on sale again next week. So be sure to take advantage of this deal while you can still get it. Chatsports.com/Celtics shirt. Go and pick up the shirt and rep the C's. Number 3 here on my list is Stanley Johnson, who was waived by San Antonio right after the deadline, former number 8 overall pick back in 2015. I cannot believe it's been 8 years since this guy was drafted, but he was released by the Spurs on February 12th. Good three-point shooter. I mean, really. 45% from 3 this season. Now, limited attempts, that's worth noting, but still a good mark there, 45% from 3. Might make some sense to add him to get some wing depth on this Celtics team, taking a look at where he might fit in on the Boston Celtics. You got Tatum, you got Smart, you got Robert Williams, you got Jaylen Brown, you got Al Horford as well as the bench. Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, and obviously White starts a lot too. Peyton Pritchard, Grant Williams, Mike Muscala, some notable names there that have gotten a lot of playing time. Muscala was an awesome addition, by the way. Great to see him playing well for the C's. Now, if you love the Celtics, go down and subscribe to the channel because you have come to the right place. We're going to have you covered with Boston Celtics news and rumors. Multiple videos a week. I think a lot of channels, Boston Celtics YouTube channels after the trade deadline, don't get you guys as much content. We're still full speed ahead here at Chat Sports, getting you guys NBA content. So subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications because if you turn on your noties, you're going to get an alert on your phone whenever we put out a video. Number 4 on my list here is John Wall. Dude, the John Wall. I love that song. And if the Celtics were to sign this guy, you know they'd be bopping that at TD Garden. I don't really think it's realistic, but he's one of the more notable names still available on the buyout market. He has yet to be signed. He was linked to a couple different teams, but he's still out there and available. Taking a look at his stats from this past season, 11.4 points per game, or this season, I should say, 11.4 points per game, 5.2 assists per game, 2.7 rebounds per game, shot just 40.8% from the floor. So I think he went to L.A., with high hopes, thinking he was going to be a starting point guard on a championship caliber team. And unfortunately for Wall, it did not work out. In fact, Wall was actually traded back to the Houston Rockets, which was really ironic considering what he said about that organization a few weeks ago. And of course, the Rockets ended up waiving John Wall. I don't think Wall makes much sense for Boston. I really don't. You already have a lot of point guard depth. In fact, you have so much depth at that spot. Do you have a guy like Peyton Pritchard that's kind of been, kind of the back of the bench for the Celtics team? Pritchard's very talented. We all love Pritch. Pritch was in some trade rumors. Luckily, the Celtics held on to him. But I don't think Wall makes a whole lot of sense for Boston. I really don't. I included him on this list because he is one of the more notable names still out there and available. But I don't expect him to sign with Boston. Taking a look at the buyout candidates here, Will Barton, probably the most realistic. Serge Ibaka, Stanley Johnson, and John Wall, some notable names that the Celtics might take a look at to fill that last roster spot. Big game tonight for the C's against the New York Knicks. Tip-off at 7:30 Eastern Time. Going to be a lot of fun to watch that game. Jaylen Brown is out. Going to be interesting to see how Boston fares against a really hot Knicks team tonight.